Morning!
Have you ordered yourself a chalk pen yet to write on that?
Not yet, no.
Do I need to tell Holly to order it for you?
Can do. Save me the bother.
Exactly. She gives it the big one. Oh, you're useless. You can't order anything yourself. You don't get it, Holly. You can just do it for me. That is so much better. Holly, can you
This is why God invented young daughters.
That's exactly why I'm hoping for a young daughter. Well, I hope it's young when it pops out of my partner.
Yes.
Alrighty. Well,
all right.
We probably need the action board again.
I've already done it once. All right, fucking hell. All right, Connor. Martin. The real one this time.
This is the real one. This is the real one.
No. Oh, the end of another week, Connor. Although they'll be listening to this on Monday, so they'll think, what the fuck are you on about, EBG?
Yeah, they will. This has been recorded on the Friday. It's my first proper weekend at my new pad. I've got family coming. When I say family, it's just mummy and daddy.
Oh. God, no. When's Tamsin going to come and visit?
She already has.
Oh, right.
She's a gentleman never says.
That's no then.
No. We don't engage in the sex. You haven't taught me that yet. That's not in the foundation's course.
Oh, no, we do those at the live meetings, mate. We do that at the live meetings.
The live sex show.
Get a few drinks inside it to relax your sphincter.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, for everyone, did we mention the fucking man bun yesterday? We did, didn't we?
I believe we did.
I meant to put in the description, the fucking man bun. Good God, I had nightmares about that.
And you called me Bunham.
Bunham, that's right. On a Bunham.
I found that funny.
Yeah, you're easily pleased, mate. So, this is the last podcast episode for now on frictionless pricing. Bearing in mind, we have a webinar, you'll hear the details, and we have a webinar on the Wednesday, so that's the day after tomorrow. When you're listening to this, 5:30 p.m, go to growyourbusinessfast.co.uk/free-training and get yourself down for a place, because it's going to be fucking epic. Because there's so much to cover. Like I say, I've done fucking hours of this stuff, days events, 2-day events on this. And one of the things people miss is we'll talk about raising prices and things. And the question is, how do you know if you're undercharging? Well, there are 3 very simple ways to tell. Okay, there are a lot more actually. I can think of about a dozen off the top of my head, but we'll talk about the main 3, because these are the obvious ones. The others are not so obvious and require that someone like me with a brain the size of an autistic planet to figure them out. The first one is dead easy. That is, you're too busy. You know, if you suddenly find yourself with a sudden influx of work for no apparent reason, and you're working really hard, and you are too swamped, and I know a lot of guys are, you know, that's a damn good chance you are undercharging, because you're attracting loads of people. Now, if you temper that with the idea of we're getting a lot of work and it's not particularly good work, and the clients are often, not particularly good, that's a real fucking smoking gun. You're undercharging. Too busy. People, I say it all the time on LinkedIn, even in the foundations group, people say I'm really busy at the moment, and my answer is always the same. If you're too busy, you're not charging enough.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Because you want to be driving some people away.
Yeah, if people aren't saying no,
yeah,
you're doing it wrong. You're never going to get 100% close rate, and it's stupid to think otherwise. Well, you probably could get 100% close rate if your prices are £1.
Yeah, and you don't. Yeah, that's it. You don't want 100% close rate.
Something is drastically wrong if you're closing every person you speak to.
Yeah. Well, the second thing is, I was going to come to that. The second big tell. First is you're too busy. The second is you're not getting any price resistance. So if people are saying no, but it's not about the price, there's something wrong somewhere. Now, you want people to be saying, no, that's too expensive. Of course, it's not too expensive. The fact is, they just can't afford you, which is a very different thing. And if you say that to a it's not a prospective client at this point because they've said, no, if that's how you're too expensive, keep a straight face and you say, it's not, look, we're not too expensive at all. The fact is that you just can't afford us. You won't make yourself any friends, but hey, we're not in the game to make friends. We're in the game to make fucking money.
It's great saying that. It's fucking great saying that. Cool. You're fucking bloody expensive. No, you're just poor, cunt.
Yeah, you're just poor. I saw someone this morning posting on LinkedIn saying about how we shouldn't speak in those terms to and about people. And I just don't get it. I mean, it seems there's a certain school of thought saying if you are somehow not validating everyone all the time about everything, you are being a bully. That kind of thing, you know. And it fucking takes me back to, I mean, not when I was at school. When I was at school, we barely had school when I was at school, obviously, because I'm so old. But seriously, when I was back at school, things were a lot different from how they are now. To the extent, I mean, when I was 7 years old, I beat the shit out of the school bully, Dean Marlowe, literally kicked his teeth in. And at the time, no, I didn't get in trouble for it. I mean, it wasn't particularly well thought of, but I didn't get in trouble for it. I wasn't offered counselling or psychotherapy. Everyone knew he was a fucking bully and everyone knew he got what he deserved. Well, these days that wouldn't happen. At the very least, you'd probably be suspended. I was 7 at the time. You'd be suspended and you might even get the police involved and all kinds of counselling. And probably someone accused saying, oh, are you sure your parents aren't touching you inappropriately because you seem troubled? No, I was being bullied by a fucking bloke, well, a kid, twice my fucking size. We've got a lucky kick in his nuts and put him on the floor. And I thought, fuck, I don't want him to get up because he'll kill me. So I kicked him in the face and carried on. You know? It's possible to overthink these things, and I didn't overthink that one. So things are all different these days.
There's also this connotation that poor is bad. Like when we say someone's poor, we're not necessarily saying they're a bad person. That is your problem.
We're just saying we don't want to work with them if they can't afford us.
We're not saying the wealth is your problem, but if you think the word poor means bad, and that anytime someone says, oh, they're poor, you're digging at them, you're a fucking idiot. You've got too much weight and emotion behind a fucking word.
Yeah, I mean, there are people out there who do this, but not many people, and certainly no one with any ounce of common sense walks past the Rolls-Royce franchise, garage, whatever you like to call it, dealer, and says, oh, I should be allowed to have one of those even though I can't afford one. You know, everybody with any, I mean, yeah, these left-wing collective fucktards, they do think this kind of shit, but they're stupid. But, you know, anyone, and certainly any business owner with any modicum of success does not walk around thinking I deserve to have that car, even though I can't afford it. They'll think, fuck, I'd love a Rolls Royce. What can I do to earn one? You know, that's the word, earn. Become deserving of one. And again, you know, like you say, this is not about your worth as a human being. This is about how much money you've got to pay the fucking bill.
Yeah, the average small business owner will do far better selling to rich people versus trying to accommodate poor people. Yeah, not that poor people are terrible, but typically those with lots of money are easier to sell to, will pay higher prices
and make better clients,
pay for the experience, and they make far easier and far better clients. So
it's just true.
It's just true. There's no argument.
Is it fair? Probably not. Can we change it? No. Do we want to? I don't. I'm quite happy with it, even though I'm not particularly wealthy. I'm quite happy with it. You know, I wouldn't want to be a billionaire. I mean, I'd like the money, to be fair, but I'm not prepared to do what's required to do to make £1 billion. I'm just not. You know,
no way.
I'm just not. You can call me unambitious if you like, and I don't give a shit about that either. You know?
Fix your mindset.
Oh, please don't. Oh, I hate that shit.
Anyway, back to the original point. The 3 ways to tell you're undercharging.
First, you're too busy. The second is you don't get price resistance. And the third is your profits are going down. Yeah, you are. Now, this is a tricky one for some people because, as you know, we've spoken to at least one person with $1 million+ turnover who didn't even know if he was making a profit. I really, I mean, I am not even the best at the numbers thing because I'm not that money driven, but I leave it in the hands of my accountant. I keep an eye on things, but I don't really know from day to day how much money I've got in the bank account. I'm not one of these people who wakes up and checks his account like some of these gurus tell you to. I just don't do it. I'm not that bothered. But to have $1 million+ turnover and not even know if you're making a profit is pretty fucking dire, isn't it? I mean, come on.
Pretty fucking stupid.
Well, the thing is, if you don't know if you're making a profit, you could be making a loss. And wouldn't you want to know if you're losing money? Because that cannot continue forever.
It baffles me because surely people must check their bank accounts occasionally and be like, all right, the money's, going up versus, oh, it's a little bit less than last month when I checked it at the same time. I should probably look into that.
Doesn't the accountant tell them at the end of the year, you made this profit, you owe this much tax?
It's
really fucking difficult to get my head around this one.
Yeah, you owe no tax because you made a loss. However,
I mean, yes,
fuck ton of VAT.
Somebody commented on the snippet we uploaded to LinkedIn today, from yesterday's podcast about the only 3 ways to grow your business. He quite correctly said the 4th way is to cut your costs, and he's absolutely right. I'm not denying that. In fact, it's in many ways it's easy because every pound you save goes straight on your bottom line. So it's not like you make a sale of £100 and make an extra £35 profit. You save £100, it goes straight on your bottom line. It's all effectively profit. He's absolutely right. But the thing is, that's not our focus in the way we do things. We do talk about it, but I think without going into too much detail, there are more important things for most people than watching their costs. I don't want to get people involved in this idea where let's do things as cheaply as possible. I want to avoid that. On the contrary, I want people to spend as much as they possibly can afford to get a new client.
Absolutely.
And by talking about costs, to me, that would just position us wrongly. But he's right. I mean, he's right in the detail. I won't take that away from him at all. And he was correct to add that on. I wouldn't say he was correcting me because I wasn't wrong. I consciously missed that one out.
Yeah, there's just another one. And as you said, if we was to talk about that in terms of our positioning, I don't know, it's not as sexy. Cut your costs, fucking but obviously.
It's not sexy, but also it's a can of worms.
Yeah.
And for most people, cutting costs it's things like to me, it feeds into the negative mindset of let's do things on the cheap.
Yeah. And also, most people think they're running their business as efficiently as possible. We know that most businesses aren't, and we are quite proud in saying that, we're not frugal at all. If we see the kit, we get the best kit. We see the software, we get the best software. However, we do have a system in place that everyone can copy. Is we have a spreadsheet with all our committed spending, with the person who is vouching for that monthly or yearly cost. And once a month, we just ask everyone who has any responsibilities to just spend 2 minutes going through the spreadsheet and to remove their name from anything they're not using anymore and can't see themselves using. And then we'll get Holly to go through, and anything that doesn't have a name next to, no one's using it anymore, she'll cancel it. It takes less than half an hour in total, and it just means we're on top of it, and everyone can copy that.
Yeah, and the other thing is, again, and this is something we do go into in detail, but I'm not doing it for free with people, and I'm not going to do it as a major part of our marketing message. But I want, we've actually mentioned this before, I want my suppliers to make a damn good living out of me.
Yeah.
Right. And that won't happen if I'm squeezing them on price. If I'm squeezing them on price too much, thinking I'm going to make a profit, I could be shooting myself in the foot because I can get shoddy work, I can get late work. If I haven't got more than one supplier of that thing, I can find myself in deep shit. Now, you can imagine a good example. You imagine a printer who's relying on, say, one supplier for print and ink.
Yeah.
And he squeezes down on price, cuts his costs by squeezing them down on price to the point where they maybe go bust or they cannot deliver. Then if they can't deliver, he can't deliver. And I know at least one printer who went bust with 300K's worth of work in his order book because he couldn't get the cash flow to buy the paper and print he needed. That's it. So, you know, it is correct to say that's a very effective way to increase your profits, but I also think it's got to be done very carefully because it can be dangerous. Raising your prices is completely safe and allows you to spend more and worry less about your own costs. So yeah, he's correct, but I just want to make that point in case he's listening to this and thinks that we don't know what we're talking about, because we obviously do. So yeah, your profits are going down. Now, I'll say more about your profits going down in a minute when we talk about the danger of not increasing your prices. But why are people undercharge? I mean, why do they do this in the first place? So this comes up a lot. A lot of it is because I think there is the going rate. You know, this is what you charge, and there's no rhyme or reason for the going rate if you think about it. It's just what everyone does. You know, a little bit like there's some people who live up the road. I'm not going to make what his name is, because that.
What are you doing?
Oh, I've got wrist rest for my keyboard.
It's really loud.
I just like
you just
stroking me cock.
This noise.
I'm stroking my big mambo dildo. Look.
I tell you what. Whilst we're in the middle of showing things up.
Oh god.
A quick side note on pricing, and we'll go back to why tradesmen undercharge in a second. And I was in the market for a yoga mat, and much like the paper clips, I had no idea how much they cost. I thought they were 50 to 100 quid. Fucking 30 quid for a mammoth yoga mat.
Yours is bigger than mine, because we measured them, didn't we, yesterday?
Yeah, I was like, in my head I thought it'd be nice if they're about 50 quid, but if they're like 100 for a nice one, I'll pay that. One of the most expensive ones I could find that ticked all my boxes was 30 quid off Amazon. I can't complain. It's got all the different lines on it to help with your feet position, your hand positions.
No, my word.
What do you mean, no?
That is a real fucking high-end yoga mat, that is. That's dead posh. Mine's just a cheap blue one that just ticked the boxes for me. But yeah, they undercharge because it's the guy. Anyway, there's a guy lives at the family lives up the road, and the girl was friends with my daughter, Imogen. And one day this girl says, "Dad, why do we go to church? Why do we do this every fucking Sunday? Because I'm fed up with it," kind of thing. And he says, "Oh, because that's what we do." No rhyme or reason for it. You know, no rational person would go to church, but he goes to church because that's what he does. And by the same token, this is, the going rate is what people charge because that's what people charge and has become the going rate. It makes no sense. The going rate is a myth. What the going rate is actually what the client in front of you will pay for what you're offering. That is the going rate. Because it's your going rate and you set your own prices and you're in a one-to-one dialogue with the client. If the client doesn't like it, they can fuck off. Or if they query it, you can explain to them, I just said before, thank you for saying that. Yeah, we are the most expensive plumber in Pimlico, and here's why. Yeah, it's very straightforward. I think people are afraid. But I think perhaps digging into that, the first is we talk about the numbers. Many of them just don't know their numbers.
Yeah.
That guy is doing $1 million turnover a year as a Ricky, doesn't know if he's making a profit or not. To him, he probably sees the million and thinks, "Well, I'm a millionaire. I'm doing $1 million a year." Yeah, I'm not making fun of the guy. And he was a really nice bloke. I really wish he'd joined us because I got the feeling he knew there was something creaky in his business. This was right at the start of COVID. Really nice bloke, but he just didn't know his numbers. He probably thought, I've got $1 million a year business. Down the pub with his mates, I'm doing $1 million a year. Well, what does that even mean? If you're turning over $1 million a year, I'm not impressed.
No, me neither.
If you're making $1 million a year profit, I might be impressed. But if you're doing $1 billion in sales and only making $1 million, I'm not. So it's all context dependent. Well, I think to know the context, to understand the context, you've got to know the fucking numbers. And most people don't. They just see all this net, all this gross and think there must be some net in there. Big pot of money. Fucking look at my bank account, 150K in my bank. fucking living it large. But when you start taking out of that, and then start thinking, yeah, but 20% of that is what's corp tax in the UK? 20%?
Yeah.
It's 11 here. Yeah, it's 11%. I think it's 11% here. You think you've got to take 20% for that for tax, and some of that's maybe some of that's VAT. All those things, then you start to realize, well, that million turnover doesn't actually translate to much profit. But unless you know your numbers, you don't know your numbers. And because they don't know this, they look at that headline number and think, we're doing okay, we're doing $1 million a year, we're doing okay. Don't need to increase our prices, we're doing okay. And then there's this kind of cognitive dissonance is, yeah, we're doing okay, we're doing $1 million a year, that's great. But I still ain't got any money to take out at the end of the month. This doesn't add up. But hey, we're doing $1 million a year, so it must be all right. It must be wrong. They don't know their numbers, and what they do is they steer their businesses and their lives even by their emotions. It feels great to be doing $1 million. It's a really big number. It sounds good. It feels good. But on the balance sheet, when you add in everything else and juggle those numbers, you think, fucking hell, actually, we're turning over $1 million. We're taking $1 million in revenue, but it costs us $1.1 million to keep the business going, so we're losing $10 a year. It could be that stupid. I would much rather be doing 100k turnover and making 10k profit than doing $1 million turnover and making a 1k profit or even a 1k loss.
Yeah,
I just would.
Any fucking sane person would.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, ego and vanity.
Gets in the way. God, yeah. Well, that's why they say turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. Now the second thing is, one of the reasons they undercharge is that this is about their delivery. They think about their thing rather than the outcome. So a plumber or an electrician or a painter or a landscaping guy or a roofer or a guy who digs the foundations or anyone groundworks, anyone in between, they look at what they do and they say, well, they might say, for instance, I'm just making these numbers up, but the principle's the same. It'll take me a day to dig those foundations. Well, I can't charge more than 300 quid for a day's work. Well, that's people's thought processes. They've got this connection between how long something takes and how much they should charge. And there's absolutely no reason to do that unless you've consciously decided to charge by the time. Now, you might say, okay, to dig foundations for a house, we're going to charge 5k. If it takes us 5 weeks, that's what it takes us. If we do it in an afternoon, we've made a lot of money in an afternoon. That's what they should do. You charge, you price the opportunity in effect. But you can only really do that when you start thinking about the outcome you're delivering and not the thing you're doing. And the example I always use, because it's a really fucking solid one, it's tight. It's a common experience to everyone because we all know someone who's either been to the gym and on a diet or we've done it ourselves. And the principles behind it are easy, eat less, exercise more, lift weights, pretty much it. The rest is just fucking fluff. So your average PT, well, the really low end ones will sell themselves on price. I'm the cheapest PT out there. All right, fine. But most will sell themselves on, here's your diet, here's the exercises, and we work in that gym down the road with all this fancy kit. Well, anyone can do that. That's why you get girls on LinkedIn, on Instagram, say, selling themselves for as a PT for 67 quid for a 3-month program, because she's selling her thing. That's it. Anyone can sell the thing cheaper than you, and they often will. So you just drop your price. If you think about the results, that's better. So yeah, well, never mind what we're doing, but we're going to make you leaner and more muscular. That's better, and you maybe sell that for a few hundred quid because it's a result people want. But when you start focusing on the outcome, what it actually does for you, never mind how we're going to do it or what we're going to do, but at the end of it, you are going to be able to walk on that beach and you'll have other guys jealous of you as their girlfriends look at you as you walk by. You're a middle-aged man and you've got younger women eyeing you up and down because you look fantastic. What's that worth to, say, a guy of my age? A fucking lot, I'm telling you. That kind of thing is a motivator for me. People might say that's just vain and the rest of it. I don't give a shit. For me, here's this true story. Probably a couple of years ago now, maybe a bit longer. I had an ad, an email land in my inbox from Fat Face, the clothing chain, which I really like their stuff. I clicked on it and I was looking at it, and something was going on in the back of my mind, and I realised, I thought, fucking hell, I've got a fashion model here in his 30s. So he's a good 20 years younger than me. And he's obviously quite built and things, but I thought he's got his physique is not as impressive as mine. And I'm 20 years older, so fuck you, you know? For me, that was great. Well, like I say, you can call me vain if you like, but the truth is most guys would be secretly envious of that, and they'd like it themselves, and they just don't want to put in the put the work in to get it. So, you know, that is an outcome. Yeah, you can be better looking and more admired than a fashion model 20 years your junior. You can be walking down the beach, you know, women half your age eyeing you up and down, even though they've got chubby boyfriends the same age they are next to them. That kind of thing, you know. That's an outcome. And we've all got one. And most people will lie about it because they say, well, I'm not vain really, and all those kinds of things. And I'm happy just being me. Yeah, you say that until you get some fucking tight pussy sitting on your face, then you change your fucking tune. The minute you see this fucking tight ass girl walk away with some bloke 20 years older, and you know they're going to be fucking bumping uglies all night, you change your fucking tune then, chubby. But it's true, isn't it? True. Yeah. So they think in terms of the thing rather than the outcome. And as you know, one of the things we do in foundations very early on, about step 3 in our kickstart process, is to get people thinking about the outcome, not the thing or the result. And the third reason, dead simply, it's just fucking fear. They're afraid to raise their prices. You know, they're afraid of rejection. That's an ego thing. Don't like to be told no. What I've got to understand is when you're told no, don't want to buy it, it's not a rejection of you as a person. Or even if it is, so what? Why would you care? You know, that's just fucking ego and weakness. Their fear of censure from their competitors or LinkedIn. You know, oh, you're too expensive. You're ripping people off. I remember when I deliberately posted this to piss people off. Did a phone call for 3K, and people were saying, "Oh yeah, but surgeons charge less than you, and they save lives." But that's irrelevant. They had no idea, no conception of what I did for this guy, and I wasn't going to tell them because, you know, their business. I just wanted to wind them up. But censure, you know. Get called a pariah because you're charging too much money. What you mean is you're just jealous because you're not charging enough, you stupid fucking poor cunt.
These are the same fucking idiots who'll post a picture of a footballer going, this man is on 250 grand a week, and then it will show a picture of a nurse, and this person's on 27.5k a year. Do we think this is fair in the society we should live in? Are you fucking stupid?
Evidently they are.
Are you fucking stupid? People are not measured on their worth and value in terms of how their job is perceived. They are literally paid in terms of what they are commercially and literally worth. And people who are working for a public health service, which by very definition should be trying to do things cheaply.
Well, the thing is,
just baffles me.
What do they want to do? Do they want to pay nurses 250 grand a week, or do they want to stop the footballer from being paid that much? I mean, it's not fair. I was the first to say that, and it is ridiculous, and it's fucking obscene. But that's the way of the world, and we can't change it by force, and we shouldn't even want to. Here's a very this is a possibility. Okay, this could quite easily be possible. That footballer at 250k a week or wherever he's on, right, can be playing for a team which is making hundreds of millions a year, and that team could be putting hundreds of millions or huge charity donations into the NHS. You don't know that's not happening. It might not be. I don't know. But it's too easy to just look at those kind of headline numbers and get all fucking butthurt and the social justice warrior like, without actually knowing. Social justice warriors, I hate them. I just fucking hate them.
I hate them. I haven't seen any in a while since Marcus Rashford has been doing his tremendous work, and they've all gone quiet because they're all like, "Oh, these very rich people are doing good deeds."
Who's Marcus Rashford? I've never heard of him.
He's 23, 24. Plays for Manchester United, the biggest club in England. He's gone fucking head to head with politicians, and he's done a tremendous job, and it's all out of his back pocket. He's put a lot of fucking money into this. He's gone as far. He's changed. He's managed to change the legislation towards children and school meals and whatnot. He has done a fantastic job.
I know you mean now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that gets me right. Social justice warriors. all these fucking feminazis and things, pissing and moaning about say women's rights. Gotcha, get it. Women should be treated the same as men, with equal opportunity in the law and everything else. No problem with that at all. But if they really gave a shit about any of this stuff, really gave a shit about it, they would be going to Saudi Arabia and protesting.
Yeah.
Or the Yemen. Okay.
Yeah, where it's really bad.
Where it's really bad, and where girls are getting their clitorises cut off without an anaesthetic by some fucking bearded cunt with a pair of rusty shears. That's what they'd be doing, but they're not doing that. What they're doing is they're making easy targets of middle-aged white men who wonder what the hell's going on, like me. What on earth is wrong here? Okay, they go for the easy targets because going to Saudi Arabia and the Yemen to do these things is actually quite fucking dangerous. Yeah, they are social justice warriors, except for the warrior bit. They're not. They're social justice fucking pussies. Like to sit at home in their fucking middle-class houses because they're all fucking rich, really, comparatively, yeah, comfortable and safe. When my daughter Rosie was at school, all of her friends are social justice warriors. All these fucking young 19-year-old, very safe, very white, very comfortable, middle-class Irish girls protesting about the state of the world from their fucking isolated community in one of the safest countries on earth. How pathetic is that? When I pointed this out to them when they sat in the back of my car fucking gobbing off, I was not popular. But hey.
I can't imagine you were. One of my closest friends from school is black, and when the whole Black Lives Matter thing was kicking off, we had he's super intelligent as well. We had a very, very lengthy conversation about it. And he said, the thing that is pissing me off most is all this, I suppose it's kind of virtue signaling in a way, but from these privileged white girls who have never faced a day of adversity in their lives because they come from ridiculously wealthy. Where I live I'm not going to tiptoe around it. It's ridiculously middle class. And there's Hal put, I've said his name now, it doesn't matter. He put his opinion out there, and these white girls categorically told him he was wrong, and he's the black guy in this.
Yeah, I got a similar thing. People telling me about how I'm wrong about being autistic, and how my experience of my own fucking autism is wrong, but because they've got an autistic cousin, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. It's like awesome die. But anyway, so yeah, fear, back to this fear. It's fear of rejection, fear of censure, and also fear of losing business. You know, they're afraid they will lose business, and the chances are they won't. Certainly not in the first few times they put their prices. We talked about the price ratchet. They put their price up a few times, it's just not going to happen. When it does start to happen, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've got graphs I can show people where, you know, you can increase your prices by 20% or a 35% markup, and you can lose almost half your business, 30% of your business anyway, and have the same amount of income. So that's like leaving work on a Wednesday afternoon, early Thursday morning for the same amount of money. And why wouldn't you do that? Seriously. But the fact is, you almost never, certainly in the beginning, for a long time, for a lot longer than you think, you don't actually lose any fucking work. You just don't. You don't even get, for most part, you don't even get any resistance. Well, I did a bit of consulting with a guy down in the town, a butcher. And I told him to put his prices up, and he's, I can't do that. I can't do this. And I'll just for fuck's sake, do it, will you? So he did. He put the price of his top selling meats up by 10%. And because his margins were so low, that would have given him a far bigger increase than 38% on his profits. It was more like 70% on his profits on those cuts. Yeah, because he was just such thin margins.
Wow.
And I saw him sometime later and said, how did it go? And he says, well, there's no problem. We had one guy comes in every week for a pork chop. His wife died a few years ago. So he comes in, buys for himself, buys a pork chop once a week, that's it. And he said to me, has the price of pork gone up? And I lied and said no. That was it. No one else fucking blinked. And so he'd been leaving. I mean, it wasn't a huge amount of money because you're talking of quite small transactions of tens of euro. But the profit margins were razor thin. Well, he fucking massively increased them just by increasing his price by 10%. And I said, just keep doing it until people start complaining about it. And then either do something else to make the value apparent, or just cut the price, keep it where it is, or just drop it a little bit to where it was before you started getting objections. Oh, we were already the most expensive butcher in Clon. So what? You still got people coming in the door. I go there myself.
There's room in the market for a really outrageous butcher company, isn't there? like one that this is the state that's going to get your girlfriend so fucking wet. She's not going to be able to wait for your meat. There's been a
definitely.
trend. There's been a trend over the last 5 years, specifically on Twitter more than any other platform, that these big companies have finally realized that people like dealing with people, and people have senses of humor. So these big companies now are hiring millennials to run their social media accounts. Again, specifically Twitter is where it's most rife. And their followings, for example, have just rocketed. I don't know how that's translated for sales for them, but I know their social media teams will be exceedingly happy. But it's just like, by having a little bit of personality, Jesus Christ, that's all it takes sometimes to sell things at higher prices. Just by having a little bit of something about you. There was recently something that I think Weetabix, they tweeted a picture of Weetabix and said, ditch the toast. It's now time for beans on Weetabix. And then Specsavers joined in and said, if you can't beat them, join in. And it was a pair of glasses with loads of beans on top. And then I think like Adidas got involved and it was fucking beans and shoes.
I'm guessing somebody would have found that offensive in some way because people.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'm sure somebody.
I'm sure.
Back to fucking social justice warriors again. It's Friday after all.
It is Friday.
You know what? It gets me because you know the time. How exhausting must it be going through your life, constantly angry, looking for something to offend you? Because that's what they're doing. They must be. They must wake up in the morning and be angry already. Before they get out of bed, they're angry. They are existentially fucking angry and miserable. How exhausting must it be? Seriously, I can't imagine it. What's even funnier though is how easy they are to provoke. And when they start fucking going off, you just laugh at them, and they get even more angry.
But the problem with them, it's never a conversation. They just want to shout. They just want to scream at you.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. It's never a conversation.
Yeah, I've got no problem with anyone that has differing viewpoints, even if I think they're ridiculously stupid. But let's not row. Let's talk about it, and then let's either agree with me or go our separate ways. Because there's no fucking way I'm agreeing with you. Just people that get irrationally upset with anything.
I don't. No, I was. Oh, people baffle me, as you know, but I mean, social justice warriors baffle me more than anyone. They are constantly angry and offended about fucking something or other.
It's
a bit like my ex-wife, who's constantly fucking angry about something as well. She ain't an SJW, but she's constantly fucking angry about something and upset. And there's always someone has done something to her. I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, what is wrong with like a nosy neighbour? You know, there's always something going on in your life. Can't you just chill?
It's like
anyway,
what we spoke about this morning.
So,
just people getting upset when they get bills. It's like, you're responsible for the bill. You're going to have to pay it anyway. Why are you sad you've got a bill?
Yeah.
Like, oh, the water's bill's coming. For fuck's sake, I've got to pay that, have I? Yes. Why are you sad about that?
True story, right? But it's not about bills, but mate of mine, I used to know him at school. Roger, I don't mind saying the first name, but it's Roger and Dave. Dave was the older one. Dave was a fucking rabid Leicester City fan. And some years later, my best mate, Tom Wells, I've known Tom since, we've been best mates since he was 4 years old, so like fucking 52 years. And so we're still mates now. And Tom started knocking around with Dave and Roger, going to the football with them. And apparently this guy, Dave, he was so into his football. If Leicester lost on the Saturday afternoon, the football match, right, he would cancel his plans for Saturday night going out because he's saying, I can't, it's just ruined my fucking weekend. And he would get really drunk at home on a Saturday night on his own, and he would spend Sunday in bed feeling sorry for himself with a hangover and just because it's just fucking ruined my weekend. Honestly, can you imagine being that fucking miserable and sad and having such an empty life? Your football team loses, so you just fucking trash the weekend. Fucking hell. I mean, and people call me mad.
You're the crazy one.
Yeah, so anyway, people not, if you either, you don't know the numbers, they're thinking in terms of the thing and not the outcome. or they're afraid, fear of rejection, fear of censure, fear of losing business. But the thing is, raising your prices, you have to keep raising your prices. You must. There's one big fat reason you must do this. Right? One big fat reason for raising your prices, dead simple, because of inflation. If you do not raise your prices by at least the rate of inflation, you are giving yourself a de facto price cut. And I know people who have not raised their prices for 10 years. They'll tell me so. I think we got someone in Foundations who said it a few weeks ago. I've got on it in my head who it is. I'm not going to say it now, obviously.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I know people who said they've not raised their prices by 10%. Now, here's the thing. Imagine inflation at the moment, 2019, 2020, it was about 1 point something percent. But right now, I think the average rate for the last 3 months is about 0.6. That's not the point. Let's say inflation is 1%, which is fairly low. But it's probably lower than it usually is. I mean, 2%, 2.3% isn't unheard of. Back in the probably 2016, 17, maybe a little earlier, it was as high as 3% at one point. But anyway, in 2020, a job that cost you £1,000 to provide now, and you sell it for £1,350, so you're making £350 profit. And there's 1% increase in inflation, and you don't put your prices up. In 10 years, all right, the cost of that is £1,105 to provide. Your profit has been reduced to £245. That's a cut of 30%. It's like compound interest. Oh, it's only 1%. It's not important. Yeah, well, on a 35% markup, £1,000 job today is worth £350 to you. It's worth 30% less in just 10 years' time. In 2 years' time, it's worth 20% less. It's worth 6% less. Well, that's a pretty good fucking slice out of most people's profits. Mm-hmm. In 2024, it's 12%. 2025 is 15%. Your profits are fucking plummeting. And this is just if you don't do anything. This isn't even giving discount. This is leaving your prices where they are because the cost of goods in labour increases. And that's only at 1%. If you increase it to 2%, it doubles. So your lost profit in 2030 is going to be 60%, not 30. And in 2 years' time, it's going to be 12%, not 6. People don't get this. They don't even think about it. So you must at least be raising your prices by the rate of inflation just to stay still.
Yeah, I'll say something now that should embarrass most listeners. Every budget phone company, airplan providers in the UK all have it in their contracts that your price will go up in March every single year were by the base rate of inflation plus 3%. Every single year. It's in all of their contracts. I saw it in mine because I'm with EE. And base inflation plus 3%. And I was like, fair fucking play. We've got these budget fucking companies doing this. And there's these guys that are installing, momentous things into people's homes that become absolute centerpieces in the heart of the house who just have the same price for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
Gift Gaff are doing better than you.
But it's been said to me so many times, it doesn't even register anymore as a surprise. It's just kind of a bit of a adds to the misery I feel for these people. But very often people say, I've not put my price up for 5 years or 10 years. Well, I just can't even. I just can't.
I just can't.
I can't even go there. It's too late on a Friday afternoon to delve into that level of misery for me,
Well, then I think what's that to say? If you're so fucking pussyfoot that you're not even willing to put your prices up by the rate of inflation, and you're happy to take a de facto fucking cut every year.
Yeah, you are. There's no two ways about it.
There's nothing really left to say, to be honest, apart from put your fucking prices up. We've been saying it for the last, I think this little pricing series has gone on for the last 8 odd weeks, because just to get it back into the rhythm that I originally set. And the message pretty much through the last 8 weeks has been put your fucking prices up. That is 40 episodes, roughly.
Well, it's 29.
Let me look.
There's
been 29. Yeah, the last 1, 2, 3,
And
4,
price
5,
comes into
6.
most of them in some way. Well, the thing is, people would be forgiven. People would be forgiven for thinking, oh, John's a bit of a one-trick pony. He just talks about price. But the reason I do that is it is the most important thing. In 80-20 terms, it's the one thing. It's the easiest to do. It's the most effective. It's the safest. I'm not saying it's the only, because it's not. There's loads of things you can do. And like I said to you yesterday, you want to get your prices over a certain level, you have to do more than just increase your prices, because you will hit a ceiling. But even then, most of the things we do around everything is all about the price. That's what it is. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, because we're in business and we're selling things. So the price of what we sell is fucking fundamental to the whole thing. So, this is not John being a one-trick pony. This is John focusing his attention where it's really fucking important. You morons.
You don't sell things for a profit. You don't have a business.
No. You have a hobby.
Fundamental.
Well, actually, no. You know what you have? You have a job, because when you're an employee, that's what you do. You just sell things, and you don't get part of the profit. You just get your wages.
Mm.
So you've got a job at best and a fucking perilous hobby at worst. We had a nice email from someone, by the way.
Did we? Read it out.
Said, I'm going to find. I'm not going to mention. He says he basically said, just a quick note to say he's enjoying the podcast. Keep up the good work. You and Connor, great rapport and a good balance. And then he talks about himself, which I won't say because I don't want to.
No, identify
him. But he's a business consultant working with subbies. And I sent him a video back, and he says, nice touch from the video. First thing, he generally hates podcasts because they're usually vacuous, egotistical, and boring. And I like yours, though, because it's more like listening into a conversation in the pub about a subject you're interested in. I mostly listen when I'm driving for work, a couple at a time. The message is spot on and something I've preached for a while about clients and pricing, strategy, and tactics. Knowing your worth and sticking to some simple principles. It's good to hear affirmation. And he's read the book. I don't know if it means this book, Grow Your Business Fast, or maybe the
you haven't.
I haven't read the other one yet.
The other book, prick.
So
I'll tell you what, thank you to, we'll call you Bob. I do know your actual name because John told me about the first email earlier on today. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you what, it's fucking lovely to hear that he perceives the podcast as it's just like listening to two dickheads.
Well, that's what we intended, isn't it?
That was exactly, literally verbatim, pretty much what we said we wanted when we launched this. We didn't want it to be the vacuous, egotistical, suck here, suck there. Welcome to our wonderful show. Bollocks to it.
Well, I don't listen to podcasts or indeed audiobooks. It's just not really my thing, as you know. But I have been told that some very popular gurus who we were talking about yesterday with Holly, who are very, very popular, very famous. But
is there a reason we can't say his name?
I don't know. If you can say it if you want, I don't mind.
I'm pretty sure.
It just doesn't sit right with me to name him, really. I'm not bothered about legal repercussions.
I'll fucking say it. He's very smart, he's very successful, and he's got a lot of sound advice. However, in my personal opinion, Tim Ferriss's podcast is dire. It's fucking boring. No slight against him as a person or his content or anything, but I can't listen to it. I love a good podcast, but it's boring. It's just boring. Fair play to you if you enjoy it. More power to you. There's more people that think it's a great podcast because it's the #1 business podcast. I'm the fucking weirdo, but in my opinion, it is dull and shite.
Oh, there you go. That's Connor's 1 minute hate.
And your 1 minute hate is?
My 1 minute hate, oh my God, it came out something today. It's people who don't understand the difference between facts and opinions.
Do you want to give the context of why this spawned today's 1 minute hate?
Oh, it was just another one of these, should we wear face masks and wash our hands?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, all right, let's get this fucking done. Jesus Christ, these idiots. We're happy to wrap this up now. 1 minute hate.
Yeah.
Sham bam, wham a lamb.
Bam bam, thank you, ma'am.
There we go. Are you ready, kids?
I'm ready. Do a Siri.
Hey Siri, start a timer for 1 minute and 1 second.
minute and 1 second starting now.
Right, facts and opinions. A fact is something which just is. It's the truth about the world in which we live. That is a fact. It's a fact the sun rose this morning. A fact is I'm 52 years old. So fucking I wish. I'm 56 years old. An opinion is just your belief of how the world works. So religion is not fact. Religion is an opinion. Evolution is fact. And we know evolution is fact because all the evidence suggests that's what actually fucking happened. Now, in terms of masks and fucking washing your hands, it is a fact. Washing your hands helps prevent the spread of numerous diseases. The fact is, wearing a mask helps prevent you spreading your diseases to other people. This is fact borne out by dozens and dozens and dozens of fucking peer-reviewed studies. But then some fucking complete twat on LinkedIn who's never done a medical study in his fucking life, he works in a fucking warehouse somewhere stacking shelves, he's got an opinion and says, well, that's my opinion and I'm entitled to it. Yes, you are entitled to it, but you're still fucking wrong and stupid.
That was pretty spot on, mate.
It was, wasn't it?
That extra 1 second made all the difference.
It did. You asked my wife.
Oh,
seriously,
God, right.
Seriously. They say, well, that's my opinion. As if that matters. That's like saying, well, in my opinion, Napoleon isn't dead yet. Well, go and fucking dig him up and take him to dinner then. Honestly. What is wrong with people?
Say, an opinion is just that. It's an opinion. But you can't have an opinion on a fact.
It's just your thoughts about how the world is. And it doesn't necessarily, and if it does bear any relation to reality, that's just coincidence for the most part.
If you have an opinion on a fact that differs from the fact,
reality. Well,
you
like
are just
I say,
wrong. You don't have an opinion. You're just wrong. You're an idiot.
Yeah,
you
can have your own opinions, but you can't have your own facts. And it's like people who talk about vaccines being dangerous and causing autism and things. They're not woke. They're not special. They're not fucking not sheep like the rest of us. What they are is fucking wrong.
And on
that note, fuck off for the weekend.
Join us for the fucking event, dickhead.
Yeah. So, if you want to make more money with less work, less hassle, and a few headaches, working with better clients, charging those higher prices we've been fucking banging on about for God knows how long, and have it all driven by a turgid and moist pipeline, which is filled behind the scenes, hands off, on autopilot. What you should do is join us on Wednesday for how to sell at higher prices than your competitors. Well, you're joining me. I think Connor might be there. But I'll be doing a live webinar at 5:30 Wednesday evening. All you got to do to get your free place is go to growyourbusinessfast.co.uk/free-training. Now, I will not be selling anything on this webinar. So you can leave your purse in your jacket, your pocket, or your wallet. Just sit down, take notes, listen, and then take fucking action. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands, have a great weekend, and don't shit on your fingers. See you later. Ta-ra.